Tired of feeling like your mind is constantly racing? Learn how to break free from the cycle of overthinking and find lasting calm with these powerful Stoic-inspired techniques. Discover the secret to silencing your inner critic and embracing a life of serenity, even in the midst of chaos. This video reveals how to tap into the wisdom of Stoicism to find lasting peace. Let me ask you something. Have you ever replayed a conversation in your head 100 times, wondering if you said the wrong thing? Have you ever laid in bed at night, unable to sleep, your mind spinning with what-ifs about tomorrow, next week, or even 10 years from now? If you have, you're not alone. In fact, you're part of the silent majority, modern minds trapped in the endless loop of overthinking. We live in an age of information, stimulation, and noise. Every second, a new post, a new opinion, a new possibility bombards our mind. And somewhere in that chaos, we lose something precious, our peace. Overthinking isn't just a habit. It's a thief. It steals your focus, your energy, your sleep, your presence. It convinces you that you're being productive by mentally spinning your wheels, when in truth, you're running in place, getting nowhere but exhausted. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But how can we reclaim that power when our own mind feels like the enemy? Let's start by seeing the trap for what it is. Overthinking is a mindset of control and fear. At its core, overthinking is the mind's desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable. We think and think and think, because deep down we're afraid. Afraid of making the wrong choice. Afraid of being misunderstood. Afraid of what might happen if we don't prepare for every possible outcome. So we build mental simulations like fortresses. We rehearse conversations before they happen. We dwell on past mistakes as if punishment will somehow erase them. We imagine worst-case scenarios and call it realism. But here's the truth. Most of the things we overthink never even happen. And those that do, they rarely play out the way we feared. So all that mental suffering, all that internal dialogue, it's often for nothing. Real-life examples of the overthinking trap. Let me paint a few common scenarios. See if any of these sound familiar. You send a text and don't get a reply for hours. Your mind jumps to conclusions. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? In reality, the person was just busy or didn't see it. And you're in a meeting and you share an idea. Later that night, you obsess. Did I sound stupid? Was I too aggressive? Should I have said something else? Meanwhile, everyone else has already forgotten the moment. You're trying to make a decision, whether to change careers, move cities, or end a relationship. Instead of acting, you're stuck weighing pros and cons, revisiting the same thoughts over and over again for months. No progress, just mental fatigue. This is the cost of overthinking. It paralyzes action. It damages relationships. It keeps us locked in the past or anxious about the future, never fully living in the now. The Stoic alternative: clarity, presence, and acceptance. Now here's where Stoic wisdom offers us a lifeline. The Stoics teach us that peace comes not from having control, but from surrendering to what we cannot control. Epictetus put it simply: some things are up to us, and some are not. Overthinking tries to make everything our responsibility. Other people's reactions, the future, the past, the unknown. But the Stoic mind sees clearly. My thoughts, my actions, my character, these are mine. The rest, I release. Imagine this. Instead of dwelling on what someone might be thinking, you accept that their thoughts are theirs, not yours to manage. Instead of analyzing your every word, you ask, Did I speak with honesty and kindness? If yes, then let it go. Instead of fearing the future, you trust that you will meet it with courage, just as you've met every challenge before. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's self-mastery. Reclaiming peace in a noisy world. So how do we break free? It starts with awareness. Catch yourself in the act. Notice when your mind starts spinning, and pause. Ask yourself, is this thought useful or is it just noise? Can I act on this now or is it out of my control? Is this helping me or just feeding my fear? Write it down, take a walk, get outside of your head and back into your life. Because life isn't lived inside thought loops. It's lived in movement, in presence, in courage. And if that voice in your head tells you, but I need to figure it all out first, remember, no one has it all figured out. The wisest among us act with uncertainty. They move anyway, because clarity doesn't always come before action. Sometimes it comes through action. Final thought, from overthinking to inner stillness. Here's what I've learned. You don't need all the answers to find peace. You just need to stop demanding certainty where none exists. The mind is a powerful tool, but left unchecked, it becomes a cage. The Stoics weren't emotionless. They were clear. They practiced stillness, not because they were numb, but because they understood. True power is choosing what to give your attention to. And if you're watching this right now, it means something in you is ready to stop spiraling. To stop rehearsing pain and start reclaiming peace. So the next time your mind starts racing, pause, breathe. And remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. And that awareness is already free. Let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you were fully present? Not checking your phone, not replaying a past mistake, not worrying about tomorrow's problems, just here, now. Breathing, aware, at peace. For most of us, moments like that are rare because our minds have become noisy places, crowded with what-ifs, should-haves, regrets, and fears. And in that noise, we've lost something precious, the ability to be with life as it is. But what if I told you there's an ancient philosophy that offers a path back to peace, not through escape or avoidance, but through presence, acceptance, and clarity? That philosophy is Stoicism. The Stoic path to inner quiet. Now, when most people hear the word Stoic, they think of someone emotionless, cold, maybe even detached from life. But true Stoicism isn't about becoming numb. It's about becoming awake. At its core, Stoicism teaches this. We suffer not because of what happens to us, but because of how we respond to it. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." That's a powerful reminder, because it shifts the focus from the outside world to the inner one. You can't always control your circumstances, but you can control how you perceive them, and that's where real freedom begins. Why presence is power. Think about it. How much time do you spend worrying about things that haven't even happened yet? Or replaying a moment from years ago, as if you could change it? The Stoics would call that living outside your sphere of control. And every time we do it, we trade the clarity of the present for the confusion of the mind. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic king of mental strength, wrote in his Meditations, "Confine yourself to the present." That's not a spiritual slogan, it's a survival strategy. In a world full of distraction, urgency, and pressure, the ability to return to this moment is a superpower. Let go to take back control, but how do we actually do it? Stoicism offers a surprising paradox. You regain control by letting go. Let go of needing to have all the answers. Let go of trying to change people who refuse to grow. Let go of the belief that everything must go your way to be okay. Because here's the truth. Peace doesn't come when life finally gets easier. Peace comes when you stop arguing with reality. Seneca, another great Stoic, put it best. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. That's overthinking. That's rumination. That's emotional drama we create when we resist what is. But when you drop that resistance, even for a moment, what's left? Silence. Presence. Clarity. Stoic practices for a quieter mind. Now let's make this practical. How can you apply Stoicism, not just as theory, but as a daily tool for inner calm? Here are 3 simple, powerful practices that anyone can start today. 1. The power of mindfulness. Mindfulness isn't just meditation, it's attention. You don't need incense, a cushion, or hours of silence. You just need one breath. Right now, as you're listening, take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Feel your body. Listen to the sounds around you. You are here, and nothing else exists but this moment. When your mind starts to wander, don't fight it. Just return over and over again. That's Stoic training, discipline of the mind. 2. Journaling. Like a Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius kept a journal, not for the public, but for himself. His meditations were reminders, reflections, affirmations of what mattered most. You can do the same. At the end of your day, write down, what did I do well today? What challenged my peace? What is outside of my control that I can now release? This practice clears the mental clutter. It sharpens self-awareness. It's like cleaning your mental desk before bed. 3. The gratitude perspective. It's easy to complain, easy to focus on what's missing, but the Stoics practice the opposite, gratitude through contrast. Instead of asking, why don't I have more? Ask, what if I had less? Try this tonight. Before you go to sleep, think of 3 things you're grateful for. Not in a superficial way, but with sincere presence. It could be clean water, a friend who listened, the fact that you woke up this morning. Gratitude grounds us. It brings us out of fantasy and into the sacredness of what already is. Final thoughts. The quiet mind is not empty, it's focused. A quiet mind is not a lifeless one. It's not silent because it's numb, it's silent because it's centered. The Stoics weren't monks hiding from life. They were leaders, warriors, parents, citizens, deeply engaged with the world, but not owned by it. And you can be too. The more you train yourself to return to the present, to let go of unhelpful thoughts, to anchor your attention in what is, the more peace becomes your natural state, not a distant dream. So the next time your mind spins with worry, stress, or frustration, ask yourself the Stoic question. Is this within my control? If it is, act with courage. If it isn't, let it go with grace. And return, always, to the stillness of now. Because in this very moment, right here, right now, you are free. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really stopped and looked? Not just at what was happening around you, but inside your mind. Most of us go through life reacting, automatically, emotionally. Unconsciously, we judge, assume, interpret, and all of it happens so fast, we don't even notice it. But here's the thing. What if the way we see things is the very thing that's keeping us stuck? Today, I want to invite you into one of the most powerful habits you'll ever build. Not a flashy one, not a trendy one, but a practice that has changed minds, transformed leaders, and formed the core of Stoic strength for over 2,000 years. It's the power of mindful observation, not just looking, but seeing. Not just noticing, but understanding. Because when you learn to observe without judgment, you begin to separate truth from illusion. And that, my friend, is where freedom begins. The problem, you're not always seeing reality. You're seeing through a filter. Let's be honest, we all carry mental filters, beliefs, fears, past wounds, and assumptions that shape the way we interpret what happens to us. You don't just hear feedback, you hear, "I'm not good enough." You don't just notice a silence, you assume someone's mad at you. You don't just receive a message, you analyze every word, every emoji, every delay. But the Stoics would ask, is that what actually happened? Or is that just the story your mind is telling you? Marcus Aurelius, one of the wisest emperors to walk this earth, wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment of it." And here's the trap. Most of us are not thinking. We're repeating. We replay patterns. We relive old fears. We see through the lens of yesterday's pain. So the question is, can you learn to see clearly? Can you learn to observe without instantly reacting? Because that's where power begins, not in control, but in clarity. Step 1. Recognize the inner biases. Now, this isn't about blame. It's about awareness. We all have blind spots. Maybe you assume people are out to get you because you grew up around criticism. Maybe you think everything has to go perfectly, or it means you failed. Maybe you overanalyze silence because in the past, silence meant rejection. But those reactions are not reality. They're habits. They're echoes of old wounds that no longer serve the person you're becoming. The Stoics taught us to examine these inner reactions, to challenge them, to ask, what if this isn't personal? What if I'm only seeing one part of the picture? What if I can respond with wisdom, not woundedness? The goal is not to suppress emotions, but to understand them, not to become cold, but to become clear. Step 2. Separate the fact from the fiction. One of the most practical Stoic exercises is this. Separate what actually happened from what you think it means. Let's try it together. Imagine someone you care about doesn't respond to your message. Now, what's the fact? They haven't replied. That's it. But the story. They're ignoring me. I must have upset them. They don't respect me. That's not observation. That's interpretation. The Stoics would pause and say, can I hold only the truth? Can I remain grounded in what is, not in what my emotions add to it? This gap between event and interpretation, that's your freedom zone. That's where growth happens. Because when you can sit in that space without jumping to conclusions, you're no longer a prisoner of your emotions. You become their master. Step 3. Practice daily observation with presence. So how do we train this muscle of mindful observation? It's not about becoming a monk in a cave. It's about being a student of your mind every single day. Start with a simple moment. You're walking down the street. You feel tense. Pause. Breathe. Ask, what am I thinking right now? What story am I telling myself? Is it true or just familiar? This isn't about fixing everything. It's about noticing. Because awareness is the first step to change. You can also journal, not just about what happened, but how you interpreted it. You'll start to see patterns, automatic reactions, fears, triggers, and once you see them, they lose their power. As Seneca wrote, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Final thoughts. Observation is power, not passivity. Some might say, but doesn't all this observation make you passive? Too slow to act? Not at all. In fact, the opposite is true. When you act from clarity, you make better decisions. When you see without distortion, you move with confidence, not confusion. Stoicism isn't about freezing your emotions. It's about freeing yourself from being ruled by them. And this practice of observation? It's not a quick fix. It's a lifelong discipline. But over time, you'll notice less reactivity, more clarity, less self-doubt, more freedom to choose how you show up. You'll stop being the victim of your thoughts and become the observer of them. And that's when everything starts to change. So I'll leave you with this. Don't just live, see. See what's real, see what's useful, see who you truly are beneath the noise. And when you do, your mind becomes a place of peace, not war, a place of truth, not chaos. Let that be your practice. Let that be your power. Let me share something that took me years to learn. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is to stop fighting. I'm not talking about giving up. I'm not talking about surrendering to fear. I'm talking about a different kind of strength, the kind that comes from accepting reality exactly as it is. Not because it's easy, not because you agree with it, but because refusing to accept what you cannot control only leads to one thing: suffering. And in today's world, where we're constantly overwhelmed, overthinking, and trying to fix everything, it turns out that acceptance might just be the most radical, most powerful tool we have. What is active acceptance? Let's clear something up right away. Acceptance doesn't mean apathy. It doesn't mean you stop caring or that you become passive. Active acceptance means this: you stop wasting your energy resisting what already is, so you can redirect that energy into what you can influence. It's the difference between yelling at the storm and learning to navigate through it. Why resisting reality makes us suffer. Think about this. How much of your stress, your anxiety, your frustration comes not from what actually happened, but from your refusal to accept that it happened? We say things like, "This shouldn't be happening. It's not fair. Why me?" And sure, those thoughts are human. But when we cling to them, we start drowning in mental resistance. We replay events, we obsess over outcomes, we try to control things far outside our reach. And we suffer, not because of the event itself, but because we're stuck fighting reality. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said it perfectly. Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle: some things are within our control, and some things are not. The moment you make peace with that truth, your life begins to change. Focus on what you can influence. So what is within your control? Your attitude, your response, your choices, your breath, your effort. Everything else, people's opinions, the past, the weather, traffic, politics, aging, time, it's not yours to carry. And yet we carry it. We try to manage the unmanageable. We obsess, we micromanage, we overthink. But here's the Stoic truth. Trying to control what isn't yours to control is the fastest path to exhaustion. Real strength comes from letting go of that burden. Real-life examples of resilient acceptance. Let's ground this in real life, because this isn't just theory. It's a skill people use every day to survive, grow, and thrive. Imagine a single mother who just got laid off. She has every right to panic, but instead of spiraling into fear, she accepts the reality. This happened. It's done. Now, what can I control? She updates her resume. She makes calls. She focuses on action instead of anxiety. That's active acceptance. Think of a man who's just gone through a painful divorce. He could blame. He could relive the past, but instead he says, "It ended. That chapter is closed. My peace begins with what I do now." He learns. He grows. he rebuilds. That's resilience, not because life was easy, but because he stopped resisting the truth. Or maybe it's you, waking up every day with a weight in your chest, wondering why life feels so uncertain, so overwhelming. And then one day you realize, I don't have to figure out everything. I just have to face what's in front of me, with calm, with courage, and with presence. That shift, that single moment of acceptance, can change everything. How to practice active acceptance daily. So how do we build this mindset? Here are a few simple but powerful ways to start. 1. Ask the Stoic question. Whenever you feel stressed, ask, is this within my control? If the answer is no, breathe, release, move on. If the answer is yes, act with purpose. This single question cuts through mental noise and brings you back to what matters. 2. Use the "this is the way" mindset. When something unexpected or painful happens, practice saying to yourself, this is the way right now, and I will meet it as I am. It's not giving up, it's grounding yourself in the present. 3. Journal for clarity. Write down what's bothering you. Then separate it into 2 lists. What I can't control and what I can. Tear the first list up. Put your energy into the second one. 4. Practice the power of the pause. When you're triggered, don't react immediately. Pause. Breathe. Observe. Then respond with wisdom, not emotion. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Final thought. Acceptance isn't weakness, it's wisdom. In a world that teaches us to hustle, control, and fix everything, Stoicism reminds us of something deeper. There's power in stillness. There's peace in surrendering to what is. There's resilience in letting go. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to control every outcome. You just need to show up with clarity, with courage, and with calm. So today, if you're carrying something heavy, a fear, a regret, a loss, a future you can't predict, lay it down. Not because it doesn't matter, but because you've finally understood acceptance is not defeat. It's your first step toward real freedom. Let me ask you something honest. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you reach for? Is it your phone? Your to-do list? Or maybe that creeping sense of anxiety that today's already behind before it's even begun? In a world that runs on urgency, distraction, and endless noise, calm has become a rare currency. But what if I told you that peace isn't something you have to chase? It's something you can build, one small ritual at a time. Today, I want to show you how. Not with dramatic life changes, not with unrealistic routines, but with a simple, daily rhythm that's rooted in timeless wisdom, specifically Stoic philosophy. Because the truth is, calm isn't an accident. It's a habit. The power of small rituals in a loud world. Let's get this straight. You don't need to escape to the mountains or meditate for hours to reclaim your mind. You just need intentional moments woven into your day to recenter, realign, and refocus. The ancient Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, while leading an empire, journaled every morning, writing reminders to himself about virtue, patience, and the things he could not control. Why? Because they knew the truth. How you start your day shapes how you meet your day. And in a chaotic world, rituals act as anchors. They ground you. They remind you who you are before the world tries to tell you who to be. Morning stillness. Begin with the mind. Let's start with the morning. Before the world enters your head, enter your own mind first. Wake up and resist the urge to scroll. Instead, sit quietly, even for just 5 minutes. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale presence, exhale tension. Then grab a notebook, not your phone. This is your Stoic journal, not for poetry, not for performance, just for clarity. Write down, what do I need to accept today? What's within my control? How can I lead myself with virtue, not emotion? These aren't just words. They're mental armor. They prepare you not for a perfect day, but for a grounded one. And if you're thinking, I'm not a writer, don't worry. This isn't about writing beautifully. It's about thinking clearly. Midday reset. Breathe, reflect, realign. Now let's talk about the middle of your day. When everything starts pulling at you, meetings, notifications, people's energy. Here's a habit that takes less than 2 minutes but can shift your entire state. Pause, breathe, observe. Set an alarm or tie it to a natural transition like lunch. When it rings, stop. Close your eyes if you can. Take a few slow breaths. Ask, where is my attention right now? Am I reacting or responding? Is this still aligned with what matters? This habit, just like the Stoics practiced, reminds you that no matter what's happening around you, you always have access to the inner fortress of your mind. As Epictetus taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. This is how you begin that mastery. Set realistic, meaningful daily goals. Now, let's shift to your daily goals, because most people either overestimate what they can do or underestimate what really matters. Your list doesn't need to be long. It needs to be true. Try this. Each morning, write down 3 things. One thing to move your life forward. Maybe it's a work task, a conversation, or a healthy habit. 2, one thing to protect your peace. A walk, a boundary, a moment of quiet. 3, one thing to practice virtue. Could be patience with a colleague. Honesty in a difficult talk. Kindness to yourself, that's it. 3 intentions, not to impress anyone, but to stay aligned with who you want to be. Because at the end of the day, Stoicism isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, on purpose. Personalize your rituals. Don't idolize them. Now let me be clear. This isn't a one-size-fits-all formula. Your calm routine doesn't have to look like mine or like anyone else's. Maybe your best reset comes during a quiet drive, a walk at sunset, or 5 minutes of silence before bed. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is presence. Experiment. Explore. Reflect. Ask, what restores me? What clears the fog in my mind? What grounds me in who I want to be? And then, make it a habit. Not for the world, for you. In today's culture, it's easy to feel like you have to be constantly doing, producing, achieving. But here's what the Stoics knew, and what we're finally starting to remember. A calm mind is not a luxury, it's a foundation. When your life is noisy, ritual becomes your retreat. When your day is chaotic, presence becomes your protection. And when your mind is overloaded, stillness becomes your strength. You can't always control your external world. But with these simple daily anchors, you can shape your inner one. And from that calm center, you move differently. You speak differently. You lead differently. So if you're tired of the chaos, the overstimulation, the mental noise, the constant feeling of not enough, then don't just change your environment. Change your rhythm. Build a life that breathes. A life with moments of stillness. A life where calm is not something you find by accident, but something you return to every day. Because at the end of the day, the most powerful way to change your life is to change how you live each day. And that starts with one simple ritual. What will yours be? If this message spoke to you, don't just move on to the next video. Take one moment right now. Decide on one small ritual. One calm practice you can begin today. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. And if you're ready to build a life with more clarity, more presence, and more purpose, make sure to subscribe, because this channel is your space to slow down, reflect, and rise stronger. Let's grow together, one still moment at a time.